One day, Hero Boy's grandma had an idea. She said, "I'll get you a pet. You can play with it and tell it all your secrets." Hero Boy was excited. After a few weeks, his grandma gave him a mouse as a pet. Hero Boy was overjoyed and spent a lot of time with the mouse. He told his grandma, "Mice have so much fun in their cages. They jump and play all the time." But one day, while Hero Boy was playing with his mouse, something strange happened. A witch was watching him from outside. The witch had a weird look in her eyes. At the same time, Hero Boy's grandma started feeling really sick. After some time, Hero Boy's grandma got better and suggested they go shopping. While they were in a store, a lady approached Hero Boy. She looked like a normal lady, but she was actually the same witch who had been watching them before. She offered Hero Boy a chocolate. She said, "Dear child, come here." Hero Boy started feeling strange, like he was under a spell. The witch also had a mysterious snake with her. Meanwhile, Hero Boy's grandma called him, and he ran to her. The witch quickly disappeared. When they got back home, Hero Boy told his grandma about the strange lady in the store. He said, "Grandma, that lady was acting really mysteriously. She tried to give me chocolate forcefully, and she had a snake with her." His grandma explained, "My son, that lady was a witch. That's why we tell you not to accept anything from strangers. It might be dangerous. Especially, we should never take anything from a witch." Then, she shared her own childhood story with Hero Boy. She told him that when she was 10 years old, she had a friend who vanished when a strange lady offered her chocolate. That lady was the same witch and, in fact, the leader of all the witches. Hero Boy learned an important lesson about staying safe from witches and strangers. The next day, while my mom was making a ponytail with my hair, something really strange happened. Right in front of my eyes, my friend suddenly turned into a chicken. It was like some kind of curse put on her by a witch. Or maybe it was because she ate that chocolate from the lady. After that, I decided to stay away from witches ever since I was a kid. I learned not to take anything from them and to let someone know if a stranger ever approaches me. After some year, Hero Boy tells his own story that what will happen after that with him. My grandma had a warning for me. She said, "My son, we need to leave this place soon. Our house has caught the attention of the witches. They tend to go after people who are not as lucky as others." Luckily, there was a hotel near our house where my grandma's cousin worked as the head chef. She also knew the manager of the hotel, who was a kind-hearted man. So my grandma talked to him, and he reserved a room for us in the hotel. We moved there, and now we could go wherever we wanted. But something strange happened when we got to the hotel. A bunch of witches entered the hotel right away. They were all dressed really fancy. They met with the manager and told him, "You know who we are? Prepare a hall for our gathering." What they didn't say out loud was that they planned to kidnap all the kids or give them chocolates with a strange magic in them that would turn them into animals. At night, as I was talking to my grandma, it started to rain outside. I asked her, "Grandma, what do the witches look like?" She said, "Their fingers are long, their nails are dirty, which is why they wear gloves. They're bald, so they wear wigs or big hats." I got really scared hearing that. The storm raged on, and morning came. I was feeling sad, so I went to the big hall with my mouse to play. But then, all the witches gathered there for their meeting. I got scared and hid. The Grand High Witch started looking for me, sniffing around, but she couldn't find me. Then, they all sat down, and she showed them a potion, calling it a magic formula. If you put just a tiny drop of that stuff into candy or chocolate, it's like a magic spell. It turns kids into animals when they eat it. The lady, who was actually the Grand High Witch, explained how it worked. She started to sniff around, making funny faces, trying to find something. She even tossed a stage aside, thinking I was hiding under it. But I wasn't there. I'd slipped out through a ventilator window. But then, a big kid came in, one of the hotel guests' sons. The witches saw him and thought, "He likes to eat a lot. He'll be easy to trap." So they gave him the same chocolate with the magic stuff inside it. He gobbled it up and turned into a little mouse. The witches were scared when they saw the mouse and were about to squash it with their shoes. That's when I, Hero Boy, stepped in and took the mouse through the ventilator window. But I messed up because the witches caught me in the act and put a drop of that magical liquid in my ear. And just like that, I became a mouse too. Now, both the big kid's mouse and I ran away. My pet mouse came along too, and that's when we discovered a secret. My pet mouse was actually a little girl who the three of us decided to team up and get back at those witches. I ran back to my grandma and told her what had happened. She was furious and wanted revenge. I told her that the witch's hideout had a terrace visible from our room's terrace. So my grandma had an idea. She said, "I'll put you in a sock and lower you down to steal their magical potion. Then I'll turn you back into a boy." And that's exactly what she did. As she was pulling up the sock with the potion, the witch noticed and grabbed it. My grandma quickly said, "Oh, I dropped it while I was knitting." So I started pulling the sock back up. The witch got curious and asked, "What's in the sock?" She was about to check it, which could have harmed me. But just then, the manager of the hotel showed up, so the witch left the sock alone. My grandmother managed to get that potion upstairs. She poured the liquid onto a plate and put the 3 mice on it one by one. But something weird happened. The magical potion didn't work on us because it was meant to turn humans into animals, not the other way around. I told my grandmother, "We can't be changed back, but what if we put this potion into the witch's soup? You could go to the kitchen." My grandmother thought it was a fantastic idea and took us 3 mice in her bag. She went to the witch's kitchen where they were making their soup and added the potion. The hotel manager saw my grandmother in the kitchen and asked if the mice were hers, saying they shouldn't be in the kitchen if they were her pets. My grandmother said, "These aren't my mice, check everything." She had cleverly hidden us in a corner of her bag. The manager searched her room and luggage, but couldn't find the mouse anywhere. He felt embarrassed, and my grandmother threatened to complain and have the police seal the hotel. The manager apologized and offered my grandmother dinner as an apology. She succeeded in her plan and got dinner too. Then it was time for the witch's dinner. The witches had made that soup just for themselves, thinking it would turn them into deer. But as soon as they took a sip, they all turned into mice. My grandmother was thrilled watching this. It was quite a sight. My grandmother and the hotel workers started to catch the mice, but the Grand High Witch hadn't tasted the soup yet, so she didn't change. Then the 3 of us mouse set a trap. We made a trick that got the witch's finger caught, and she screamed. That's when we poured the potion into her mouth. Now she turned into a big deer, bigger than the other mice. We put her in a glass cup, and my grandmother brought a cat to keep watch over the witch. Now, there was a cat involved, and who knows, that cat might harm or kill one of the mice while trying to catch it. But my grandmother got really excited and put the 3 of us mice into her bag. She left the hotel, feeling safe from the witches. She could go back to her home without worries. Outside the hotel, the parents of the big kid were looking very worried. They were wondering where their son had gone. However, his mother was not very kind. She never really loved her son. When she heard him talking in a mouse's voice, she got scared and said, "Get it under control. I won't have anything to do with it." The mouse replied, "Fine. I have my friends now. I'm glad to be away from them." So, my grandmother took the 3 mice with her and gave them some food. The 3 mice were happy with their new lives and friends, and my grandmother took excellent care of them. What's interesting is that those 3 mice never wanted to turn back into humans. They loved running, jumping, playing, and having fun. My grandmother was happy to see them so content. And that's the end of the story, with a happy ending. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.